Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Championship Saturday at Free Stevens Field. The Boston Glory and the Minnesota Windchill victorious last night in the semifinals. Kids clinics going on the field, and here on the game day set, we have press conferences with the participants, starting with the Boston Glory, and we'll begin with Jeff Babbitt, the two-time reigning MVP. Jeff, thank you for being here and being a part of this. Congrats on the win last night. Plenty of high impact plays for you last night. How's the body feel in the morning after?
Excellent. Yeah, I'm ready to go.
No complaints whatsoever?
No.
What did Salt Lake do in the game last night that confounded your expectations going into it, and how did y'all adapt to win the second half and get the victory?
Defensively, they had a great game plan. They were sort of hands on us the whole game, playing really tight defense. This league has refs, and you can get away with a lot of that, and all the power to them for playing really tight, hard-nosed defense. And it just made us go through our sets a little bit slower than we would have wanted to, and I think it took some adjustment for our offense. Defensively for us, their O-line was kind of on fire in the deep game, and that's been a little bit of a struggle point for us, but I think we put enough pressure on them to make them throw too many throws, and overall, we started to figure it out late.
Part of that defensive pressure appeared to be they were very intentional about putting Reed Browning on you quite a bit. I'm curious how you felt about that matchup. There are obviously a couple of physical incidents in that game, and I'm curious how you felt about that matchup.
Reed's a good player. We got to play together last year. He is the definition of a hard-nosed, tight defender. Every second I tried to run up the field, he was slamming into me, bumping into me, grabbing me if I was trying to run up line. He got away with some stuff, but like I said, you're going to get away with stuff in this league, and it's about fighting through it. I think he wishes he could take back that one play, and I wish he could take back that one play because I was not happy with him after that, but that's all right. I still love him.
So fast forwarding today, I think the weather's predicted to be a little bit windier, which some would say benefits Minnesota and the kind of chaotic style that they play. However, I also think it kind of benefits your team too. How do you see the wind as something that is beneficial for your guys' game plan today?
Yeah, I mean, offensively, we play a slow game. We don't take a ton of risks usually. I think that we'll be able to take our time and work it up as needed. We got a lot of big players, a lot of guys that can make plays in that regard. Defensively, if they shoot and there's a little more wind, we have really big defenders. We often front teams, and Salt Lake was sort of pinpoint yesterday, and it was hard for us to get to those blocks. But I think if some of those discs float, we have our athletes downfield. I feel really good about that.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey.
So, got a little rowdy last night, especially in the stands. And I know people were talking about with Minnesota and hustle, it got a little difficult to hear yourself on the sideline. Is that something that y'all have talked about as a team of like how you're going to communicate effectively on the field when the fans get in it?
Yeah, we've mentioned it briefly. It hasn't been a big topic of ours, but basically we know that we need to try and call sets before we're in the moments to get ahead of that. But we haven't put too much thought into it yet.
Your D-line converted basically perfectly last night, if you exclude the final point where the buzzer went. What do you think powered that success and that efficiency from that group last night?
That's been a long time coming. Look at the DC game too. That D-line did an excellent job with the disc. We've really been emphasizing across the board, basically over the last 6 weeks to 2 months, that we need to control the pace of the game and we need to control the disc. And I mean, just look at what they've done the last 2 weeks, and I think they're going to continue to do so tonight.
Ben Sadok was second in touches yesterday, and obviously a big piece on your offense. With him missing today's game, how does your O-line adjust, especially going up one of the league's best defenses?
Yeah, I mean, he's missed. That's a tough one. We're just going to spread it out a little bit more. I'll probably spend a bit more time in the backfield as needed, and we might pull some guys over from D every once in a while that are going to help us keep the disc moving.
Did you watch the game last night, the second semi?
I watched some of it.
What did you think of what you saw from Minnesota and how it relates to what you'll see tonight?
They had some good sets. I think that double team was really potent against Atlanta. That caused a lot of issues for them and a lot of slowdowns, got them out of their sets. We've had a ton of practice with that, both in the East and in our own practices. So I feel pretty confident about getting out of the double team. We've got a good game plan for that. And then they're a high pressure, high athleticism defense, honestly sort of similar to Salt Lake. So I think that we'll be ready to go tonight.
Jeff, what's different about waking up and preparing for the UFA championship game? Quick turnaround after the semifinals. You've been here 3 previous times. What's it like waking up on this Saturday morning and getting yourself mentally and physically ready for the battle?
I think it's all about forgetting the previous day and just ignoring anything that might be aching me at all, because it's just one game, and you can get up for any one game. And then I just watch a ton of film. We have a handful of meetings set up for the day. We're going to be locked in all day, focused on the night at hand.
Obviously a huge play at the end of the third quarter last night, and I thought Tanner all season long, but especially last night, was huge for you. How have you seen him grow from last year to this year since you've been playing with him with the Glory?
Tanner's excellent, and he's really embraced this D-line role he's been given. He's always sort of been an O-line player, and he's shown that on every turn. I think he's a big part of why we went perfect last night. You got Tanner Johnson on a turn, that's pretty scary. But also he's been a really, really talented defender for us, and he's just such a heads-up player. That end of quarter was such a killer for them, right? We already had some momentum, and then to punch that in as the time expired in the third, that's hard to come back from.
I know you talked yesterday about your relationship with Tobe, and I'm sure you probably weren't surprised to see him have the big game that he did yesterday, but what did you notice about his performance, erupting with 9 assists and being so potent with the disc in his hands?
He's incredible. It's a pleasure to play with him, and I didn't really expect anything different from him last night. I know that every time he has the disc, he's able to do something with it. I know often he's looking for me, and that's a fun duo to have, and I expect something very similar tonight from him.
Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe you've played Minnesota in your UFA career. Do you have much of a relationship with anyone on that team?
Not really, other than I've known Gabriel Yacht since he was maybe 10, but other than that, not many matchups there. Not a huge connection.
There was a sequence, or it was a couple of O points for you guys. I think it was the third and fourth quarter. Might have been attacking both directions, and I feel like I noticed you being a little more physically communicative, like gesticulating, expressing, I don't know, what I thought was frustration, and like pointing with your arms. Are you remembering what that was and like what you were seeing? Like one of them was a red zone set, and one of them was like shortly after catching the centering pull, and you could take that wherever way you want it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm often sort of directing on the field. I think that there were times where I thought guys were in not advantageous positions, and I'm pretty much always trying to tell guys where to go if I see it. The way I play, off disc often and ready to strike, and so I can see a lot of the field, and I'm always going to communicate that. And I probably let some frustration out, but not worried about it.
Jeff, last question. You've won many championships in this league, world titles, etc. What has continued to motivate you as you've joined this new team and at this stage of your career to try to bring everything you have to try to create team success?
I think my motivations have changed a lot over the last few years. I think a lot of it now is, we talked about it some yesterday, is just to try and help the younger players in the area that are super talented get to their peaks that they can get to. This team is so unbelievably talented. There's so many young guys that would be the stars on any team, and we have 12 of them that accept the roles that they do here, and anything I can do to make those guys better is exciting to me. It's definitely a different motivation. It used to be more about how can I get better, and I'm still doing that. I'm still trying to get better, but I'm excited about bringing these guys up.
Awesome. Jeff, thanks so much for being here. Best of luck tonight. Hope you can enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's Jeff Babbitt and Tobe Decraene, fresh off his 9-assist performance last night, will make his way to the stage. 9 assists, 1 shy of the all-time UFA playoff record. But I believe Tobe set a new championship weekend record last night with 9 assists. I do not recall in my 11 years covering the league another player with 9 assists in a semi or a final. Tobe, welcome back to the stage. Congrats on the win last night, and thanks for joining us this morning. How did last night's game, as it unfolded, kind of compare to your expectations of the stage, the pressure, the feeling of a UFA semifinal?
I think we knew it was going to be a hard game, and it proved to be a hard game. I think I expected something similar, like atmosphere-wise. I've played on big stages at World Championships, so I think I knew what to expect. But it's always a pleasure and a gift to be able to play in these conditions.
I asked Jeff this as well, but obviously y'all had a game plan going in. What did Salt Lake do to take you out of your game plan, if anything, and how did y'all adjust to conquer them?
I think they had a few less turnovers than we expected, and then I think we were not that clean in our game. We made some execution errors, some silly mistakes, and I think in the end it was partly our fault as well that they got back until the end of the third quarter. So I think we got ourselves to blame for the close game.
Obviously, when you have the disc, there's a lot of responsibility on your shoulders, and more often than not, it works out with a completion or an assist or something good for your team. When it doesn't work out and you have a turnover and a throw you want back, how do you deal with that mentally on the field?
Yeah, it's tough. The thing that's going through my head when I make a mistake is more like I make the 6 other guys on the team work to get it back now because I made a mistake, and they have to work harder because I sometimes made a silly mistake or sometimes just was not 100% concentrated. So I'm fired up to get it back for these guys so that they don't have to work harder because of me and possibly make more mistakes down the line because they were tired because they had to play more defense than usual. So that's mostly what I'm thinking about to get it back for them.
One group that didn't make a lot of mistakes with the disc in their hands was your D-line last night, and that efficiency was kind of incredible to see in a semifinal setting. What do you think was kind of the driving force and the reasons behind why that group was so successful in converting breaks?
I think they've sort of found their rhythm. They've been working a lot on offense this season, and I think it's finally all coming together, and it's the perfect time to come together. But yeah, I think we have our D-line can play O-line as well. You've probably seen it when we got broken. We just put our D-line on the line, and they're almost as good as us in O-line. So yeah, I think we shouldn't look at them as a D-line. I think they're just all super good players, and they can play O-line perfectly as well.
So thinking about tonight now, obviously this is your first UFA championship game. what are your expectations going in tonight? Not only for your team but also yourself, and also kind of it's going to be a road game, right? I'm not sure if you stuck around for that Minnesota game too much last night, but that crowd got really loud. Obviously, you guys had a crowd on your side last night, but that Minnesota crowd was something else. So kind of what are your expectations for tonight, both yourself and the team?
Yeah, I think we know Minnesota has a good crowd and they're well represented in the stands. I think that's fine. For me personally, I don't really hear anything about from the crowd when I'm playing, so I don't care about it too much. But it's a pleasure to be able to play in front of a lot of people. So I think if they're rooting for us or against us, it doesn't matter too much for me.
You were a big piece of the offense yesterday, maybe more so than even in a typical game. With Ben Sadok not playing today, do you feel like your role will change in tonight's game?
I don't know if it'll change that much. I think our responsibility will stay the same for pretty much everybody. We have one extra handler than we normally play, so we mostly sit one handler. And now that Ben is missing, yeah, we'll have a tighter rotation, I imagine, but I don't think a lot of things will change in the O-line.
This Minnesota defense is fantastic. Top 2, maybe number 1 in the league. They were able to power the comeback last night. How do you expect to deal with their defense? I don't know if you're anticipating a particular matchup or just kind of what they bring to the table from what you've seen of them on tape.
Yeah, so I talked about this yesterday as well. In defense, I don't try to focus on the defense they play. I focus more on my own game, and I know if I don't make too many mistakes, it will normally all be good. So yeah, I don't anticipate any specific matchup. I'm just gonna play my own game and focus on our own game. Yeah.
So you can kind of feel the wind in the stadium right now. Is that something that y'all have talked about as a team, maybe getting more touches today in preparation for how that's going to change? And obviously Minnesota team that embraces the wind in a really big way. Is that something that you just try to keep out of your heads, or how does your leadership approach game planning for certain situational conditions?
I think we have a lot of wind in Boston as well, so we're kind of used to playing with the wind. I think it was similar yesterday, maybe it's a little more now, but it's gonna die down for sure. So I wouldn't think about it too much. I think we can play our game in almost every condition, so it'll be the same.
Tobe, have you watched Minnesota much? Did you watch them play in the championship last year?
I haven't watched their championship game last year. I think it's not very representable with the conditions of last year. I've watched a couple of their games this year. I know what we're in for, and it'll be a good matchup.
What are you in for?
A tight game.
I'm just trying to zoom out and think about the journey that you've had from last season, Rookie of the Year in Montreal, and circumstances shifting and you moving to Boston. Obviously, you're a competitive guy. You've got goals. You wanna capture this championship. Is this being at this spot right now? Is this kind of what you envisioned when you were making the transition from Montreal to Boston?
Yeah, I think this is what I've been working for maybe last eight years of my life. This game, so I'm ready for it. Yeah.
Tobe, I'm sorry to bring this up, but you have been outspoken on social media about how you didn't feel you played your best in the U24 final earlier this summer. What did you learn from that you'll take into tonight?
Mental resilience is a big one for me. But I think the circumstances are so different from that tournament and that game comparisons to this game. So it'll be a totally different atmosphere, another game. It's practically another game because it's different rules. It's with a ref, shorter stall, bigger field. So yeah, it's totally different.
All right, Tobe, we really appreciate your time and perspective. Best of luck tonight. Hope you can enjoy it.
Thank you.
That's Tobe Decraene. We'll bring in the coach of the Boston Glory here in just a moment. Sam Rosenthal will join us. At the top of the hour, Paul Krenik, who had 5 blocks last night for the Minnesota Wind Chill in their win over Atlanta. And then handler Will Brandt, followed by Ben Feldman, the head coach for this Minnesota team that has won 6 playoff games in a row, tying the UFA record. Good morning, Sam.
You guys all get some brats and Pabst Light last night?
That's for tonight, probably.
That's for tonight?
What was last night like for you after the win happened, watching the next game, getting your team ready for today?
Yeah, I've never been through this before, so I'll tell you, from a coaching perspective, this is like the most brutal 24 hours ever. I mean, I watched a game, skipped dinner, and then realized I was really hungry, got a hamburger, watched film, and you're scrambling a game plan together.
Did you get any sleep?
I slept great, actually.
What was it like trying to come up with a game plan on the fly for a team you've never played before in this league?
Yeah. So it's we talked about this a little bit yesterday with Salt Lake. It's a totally new team for us. Fortunately, when we were scouting Salt Lake, there was a wind chill game that we were watching. So it's not completely new faces for us, but it's very interesting. I think the East Coast, we've got our style. A lot of teams we're used to them, but a lot of teams play very similarly. And the wind chill do some things a little bit differently, and they're very good at that.
How would you characterize the wind chill style, both offensively and defensively?
And first of all, they were shooting last night. There's no question about that. They got some big-time throwers and big-time receivers. I think when I think about our conference, I think the world of our conference. I think everybody in our conference thinks our conference is outstanding, but there's just not this depth of throwers and receivers that you see on a team like the Wind Chill. I would also say that watching them play defense, watching how they pop around and kind of they're very active. They're successful at taking away spaces and then getting back to their guys. They play team defense very well. It's a well-coached team.
Certainly, I don't anticipate you giving us any specifics, but kind of going back to the game planning on the fly, Ben Sadok being out, obviously he at times is a bit of a wild card player, but yesterday played so consistent for you guys. How does your game plan shift tonight? What kind of adjustments are you going to have to make to account for him being out tonight?
Yeah, I'll tell you, he missed. He was at another wedding last week for practice. Ray Tetro got married, one of our guys, last weekend, and he's actually here in Wisconsin for that wedding. So, and we had a great practice last weekend, and the O got to play without him, and looked pretty good. He's such a good player for us. He's a safety valve in that he can get open at will. He can throw people open, and I always like to say you can look at the stats and see how well the O played based on how often he's touching it. The less he's touching it, the better the O is playing, because he gets those difficult touches for us when we really need it. So I think if the Wind Chill is successful in putting us under pressure, it's going to be a big challenge for Dinger and for Ned Dick and for the Cutters to get involved.
Did you like what you saw from the offense yesterday against Salt Lake? I know we talked at halftime about some of the body blows people were taking, and it seemed though to me like they were creating space really well.
Yep.
Seems like that'll be important against Minnesota. So I'm just curious, like you feel good about what you saw from the O yesterday? Yeah,
it wasn't always smooth like it would be in a drill, and you'd expect that playing a team like Salt Lake, and I'd expect that again against Wind Chill. But look, we got broken 5 times yesterday. 2 of those were O prime, so that's our D line coming in playing O. So our line had 3 breaks, and I don't know what the number was. I think they had 3 out of might have gone 10 for 13 or something like that, or I might be mildly off. But whatever it was, if you told me before the game they were going to hit those numbers, I'd say, all right, they're giving the D-line a chance to win the game.
Well, the D-line certainly did that, going 8 for 8. I mean, officially 8 for 9 because they ran out the clock after getting a turnover late.
Yeah.
What makes your D-line offense so potent?
Most of those guys are good enough to be on an O-line offensively. I think you see around the league a lot of people being on defense on D-lines because their offense isn't up to par, and that's not the case on our team. A lot of these guys have been O-liners. So when you're throwing Tanner Johnson, Tyler Chan, Peter Borth, Noah Backer, guys like that who have been core O-liners on very good teams out there, that's great. And then we got Turner Allen, BMAC, Oscar. Those guys, very, very difficult to cover.
With that, how do you strategize using timeouts? Because it's maybe a little different for you than other coaches in the league who feel like they need to go to the O-line to put in breaks, but you already have those offensive skill players on the field.
Yeah. I think no coach wants to take the opposing team's O-line off the field when they're playing defense. So I think we all want to sit there and just watch our D-line score. I just stand. What was it, Nick yesterday? I stand next to Nick, and when things look tenuous, I'll take a timeout. But I'm gonna let them cook for as long as possible. If they got open throws, go to work. Now, if they went 0 for the first 4 and are always cooking, they get a shorter leash.
Yeah, so kind of going back to the defensive line play yesterday, I mean, I think one guy you kind of briefly touched on already was Tanner Johnson Go. I mean, he played such a key role for you guys yesterday. We got a chance to talk to him after the game. He said, this year I'm committed to being a role player, which is something I would have never expected to hear out of him, right? I mean, he has been a star player in many roles in his life. How did you convince him to really embrace that role, and what do you see as a coach?
I would never characterize Tanner as a role player. I mean, he's such an important player for us. I mean, that's humble of him to say. The reality of having a deep, strong team is everybody's giving up touches. So maybe that's what he's alluding to. But when our D-line is like maybe slowing down a bit when we have the ball, we're all yelling, "Tanner, we need you! Tanner, we need you!" So I mean, let's be honest. Tanner's one of the best players in the league. He's not a role player.
Sam, what'd you think of the Jeff Babbitt Reed Browning matchup last night?
Yeah, we got a hint that Reed was going to be taking that matchup. I give him. I know Reed well. We love Reed. Reed's our guy, and he's a plucky little guy. And there's a lot of hand fighting, a lot of bumping, and Jeff's been in the league a long time. He played through it, but I wasn't focused on watching that. And truthfully, most of the time our O-line's out there, I'm calling our next D-line set, so I'm over in the bench area anyways. But it was, I mean, Jeff got his numbers yesterday for sure, and did some damage. But Reed did as well as most people in the league will do on Jeff, which isn't. I mean, didn't win the matchup, but.
From coaching Jeff the past 2 years and coaching against him the previous 3, like, what would you say about someone poking that bear the way Reed did in that game? And is there something about Jeff that comes out differently when he is challenged in that way?
No, Jeff has so much win in him. I mean, he's not one of these guys that you wake up and he's like, oh, I got to start playing hard. I mean, Jeff is more competitive than anyone I've ever been around.
Speaking of competitive, I think some of the most competitive people in the stadium are actually on the field, or like on the stands. You're looking forward to having Minnesota coming for you, and what kind of different energy and chemistry does that bring to the team? Like having someone, like having fans go against you. Like I love that as a coach. I love having that because to me, it raises the stakes a little bit in the game.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't really notice a crowd too much. The only time I've noticed them, we've had a couple of home playoff games, New York last year, our DC game this year, where I felt like the crowd really, really helped us. I've never noticed an opposing crowd, but I noticed the Windchill fans last night. I also noticed all the Radical fans cheering against the Windchill, which was entertaining. So hopefully there's a lot of Madison people here tonight.
How does being in this spot with a chance to be playing for a championship compare to what you envisioned as the roster was coming together in the off season?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think I was envisioning this at all. It was so far ahead of us. It's, when you look at the roster early in the year, you're looking at everybody's projected availability, and you're looking at a couple of problem weeks and figuring out how you're going to get through them. And I mean, we weren't even thinking about the playoffs until pretty much after we clinched in Philly, and we're starting to think about what our 20 is going to look like then. But no, I wasn't thinking about this weekend at all until after the DC game.
Speaking of the 20, do you have a sense now of who might be in the lineup tonight that didn't play last night?
Well, we got a meeting right after this. I had to push for this. No problem though, Evan. It'll probably be either Topher Davis or Peter Kotz.
Other than Sadok, you expect everybody who played last night to play tonight?
I think so.
Awesome. All right, that's your time. Thank you very much, Sam.
That's my time. How did I do?
Best of luck.
Oh,
you did great.
I went a minute over.
I'm trying to keep it more on schedule today than I did yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday was a disaster.
So thank you, Sam. Alrighty. I think we have some wind chill folks making their way to the stage. Stand by. We'll continue here in just a moment.
Slide over it. Oh, PK's here. You on PK first?
Yeah. All right. We're now going to be joined by Paul Krenik of the Minnesota Wind Chill. Paul, appreciate you coming over and joining us. How does it feel to be back in another championship game?
Feels great. Yeah, it's going to be a really fun time tonight. I'm super excited for a matchup. We've never played Boston before, so should be a unique challenge. I'm excited for it.
We talked to you post-game last night on the broadcast, and I think criminally we forgot to ask you about the snake in the grass. How long was that brewing during the game? Who made the call? Can you describe what you did and saw on that play?
Oh yeah, that's a Feldy original. We knew that it was in our bag. We knew that we could pull it out whenever we wanted, and we just had to make sure that it was the right time. We knew we obviously didn't want to run the snake in the grass when we were pulling this way, away or I guess towards our bench, because then I wouldn't have a place to hide. But yeah, we run that for a few years now. It's a good play. It usually gets a block, and yeah, on the throw, the other people on the line did a great job. Let Adam go free, and then Draker ripped that huck, and I was just there.
You have it the whole way?
Yeah. I was just kind of standing on the sideline, just looking at the field. There wasn't really, I don't know, there wasn't like a crazy read or anything. I just sort of stood there until he threw it, and then ran out and jumped and caught it.
Paul, I'd love to get your perspective on the evolution of the wind chill between last season and this year. What points of growth and difference you see between the team that won a championship last year and the team that's playing for a championship today?
Yeah, I think that Justin hit the nail on the head with the interview yesterday. like we won the championship last year, and I think when like Justin and James they all came in, I think that there was just immediately like still that hunger and that drive to like win another one and keep on building on the work that we did last year. I think that a lot of that came with a lot of like player development type things, where like last year, I guess just shout out a few players like Noah Hansen or like Thomas Shope weren't really looking downfield a whole lot, and then now they're like ripping hucks and they're all like pretty good throws, like they're all looks that we're looking for, you know. I think that like just it's a testament to like the Minnesota Ultimate community and just the emphasis that we put on player development and fostering growth in our own community. Yeah, I think that's sort of the main thing that's been going on this year.
Hey, PK.
Hi, Kelsey.
So there was definitely a feel of the celebration, the party that kept on going all the way to like getting the championship rings. I think Minnesota the first team that's gotten like championship rings and had them ordered, and that was quite a show. But yeah, when do you feel y'all made that transition to like fully locked into seeking another? What kind of conversations were y'all having about championship weekend? I know the team sets like obviously different categories of goals, and what did that look like for you as a player and for conversations from that younger generation of players?
Yeah, I think for me, this conversation really started in February of 2024. I remember before that season, we had a big sit down before practice, and we just went through some goals that we wanted to have. And one of the things that really stood out to me was Raider said, like, hey, we can win a championship. Like this is something that we can do, that we want to do. Like, let's put in that work, because this is a team that is deserving of a championship. And I think that kind of set the tone for our mentality that entire year. Just we were working harder than I think I've ever seen in any other year, and then that mentality just carried forward into this year, where like it's really, really hard to win a championship, but it's even harder to win 2 in a row. And we knew that like the work wasn't done, and that we needed to keep on going hard for this year to really do something special.
So I don't know if it's officially been announced yet. I'm going to assume that Dylan DeClercq is not playing tonight based on the injury last night.
That's my understanding, yeah.
You know, obviously he's an emotional leader for you guys. He's also a vocal leader for you guys, right? Both on the sideline and on the field. How does that impact your D-line tonight? How does that impact your role tonight? Do you feel like you need to take on more of that, maybe not necessarily emotional leadership, but more of that vocal leadership, you know, in a different way than you normally do?
Yeah, I mean, like you said it yourself. Dylan is like a great leader for this team. He's always bringing 110% at practice. I remember when I got switched over to O-line at the beginning of this season, he was at a practice and he was guarding me, and he was being super physical and like smack talking me a little bit, and I was like, Dylan, we played like on the same line for like 3 years. What are we doing? Like, come on. Yeah, like I think that just goes to show like how much of a leader and how like in the level of intensity that he brings to these games. And I think that if you'll watch that film back, you'll see that he was bringing that exact same level of intensity, even when he wasn't on the field. Like he was still, after every single point, running onto the field, giving high fives, like motivating people to work harder. So I think in terms of energy, like he's going to be the same Dylan that he's always been. It's just going to be, we're just going to need somebody else to go out and make those crazy layout blocks that he always does.
PK, I think you were 5 or 6 years old when Matt Raider started playing high-level club Frisbee, and you know this could be his last UFA game tonight. What has it been like being his teammate, learning from him, his unique style and the way he's gone about his business? What have you learned from Raider?
Yeah, I think that in 2020, when Will and I first made Winchell as practice players, I remember there was a practice weekend that Raider came to, and we were doing a lagging defender drill where it was 4 players on offense, 3 on defense, and we had to, the defense just has to catch up and play well. And I remember I was on the same drill as Raider, and we do the rep, and it goes well, we score, I'm like, oh, I did pretty well at that point. Like, no turns, hit open hands, move the ball well. And then after the point, Raider said, PK, come here. And then gave me like a list of 5 things that I did wrong. And I was like, oh, okay, there's like levels to this. Wow, like I have like a lot of room to improve. And so I think that just like the attention to detail that Raider has and how passionate he is about like making young players better and sharing like tips that he's learned to play at the highest level. Like he's been a great leader for this team. I mentioned the comment that he made in the early 2024 season, and I think that's just been something that he's been bringing day in, day out to this team for 2 years, and it's been really special to have him.
Great stuff. Thanks for sharing that story. One other question. Things have shifted for the Winchill since you and Thomas traded places on the O&D line. It feels like it's unlocked things for both the offense and the defense. Why do you feel like that move has worked out so well for the whole team?
Yeah, I think that Thomas is like, he's one of the best young players in the game today. I think he's the fastest player on Winchill. Plus he's like already one of the bounciest guys on the team, and he's only getting better at throwing. And his game IQ is just increasing like day by day. I think people that watched like college this past season, he was an absolute rock star for Carlson Cut. Like he scored the goal that won them the championship. I think that kind of tells you about all you need to know. Is just like big teams trust Thomas in big situations, and like he proved it last year at championship weekend. He proved it at college nationals this past year. He proved it on Team USA in the U20 division. Like, what he brings to this team is like amazing. And then yeah, I think switching me over to D-line, I love playing defense on this team. It's so fun. It's like, I think that we have like one of the best D-lines in the league, and like it's just so easy to play with all these guys. Like especially when like Tristan is like playing at his best, when Sam's playing at his best, when Noah, Justin, James are all playing at their best. Like it's just an easy team to play with. Yeah.
I want to dig in a little to the D-line offense. You guys had a massive game yesterday. Obviously, you got yourselves back from down 14-10, but it was also the efficiency that you scored with. I think it was 8 for 11 on break chances, and your D-line came in and stopped the bleeding at multiple points early in that game in the first quarter. Offensively, what's giving your line so much confidence? Obviously, you have amazing defenders on the field, but then you were able to really score efficiently yesterday.
Yeah, we were 8 for 11.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Dang, that's pretty good. Yeah. I guess we just, I don't know. It just kind of clicked. We've been playing together for a really long time. That chemistry has been like baked into this line. We all kind of know what each other likes to do, what each other's going to do. I think that a big part of it was just like trusting everybody to like play their roles and do what we know, do what like their superpower is, and play to the absolute max.
Yesterday's game was so interesting. We were talking a lot about that, but you also have a big game coming up today. What will you have to do against this Boston Glory offense? Super talented, obviously. Babbitt and Decraene, the kind of linchpins out there. How do you get them out of what they want to do?
Yeah, I think that we're just going to have to limit them as much as we can. I think that's what this D-line has showed time and again that we can do, is we are really, really good at recognizing the other team's strengths and adjusting our defense to counter them. I think that we did that really well in Chicago. I think that we did that really well last night. I think that tonight we're going to do it again. Coach has been hard at work drafting a game plan, getting matchups ready, so we can give ourselves the best chance at playing another really good game tonight.
Last question for you, PK. Do you feel like you and your team proved something different last night to beat a team like Atlanta in pretty ideal ultimate conditions?
Yeah, I think we did. I think that we proved something when we gave Atlanta a really good game in the regular season. I think we proved another thing when we gave them a really good game last night. I think that we also proved something when we won against Chicago 2 weeks ago. I know that the first half was a little bit windy, but second half was pretty calm. I think that this is a team that has shown just the resilience that we have is something that you can't really quantify. I think that this team is both very willing and very able to look at adversity, acknowledge it, and then still go out there and play our best. I think that Carlos Lopez has been instrumental in that, just with him talking about visualization before games and really putting yourself in situations before they happen. And so I feel like every single person on the wind chill has played this game like 2 or 3 times already. We just need to go out there and do it tonight.
Great stuff. We'll leave it there. PK, thank you very much for your time. Best of luck today. I'll bring up last year's championship weekend MVP, Will Brandt. Will, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Where is last year's MVP chain residing right now?
I unfortunately have no idea. I lost it. I feel pretty bad. So.
I wonder who has it somewhere. Who took it?
Someone has it, I hope, somewhere, but I don't know who that person is or where.
Let me ask you quickly about last night. You know, it wasn't the smoothest game for the O-line, but you had some gutty holds in the second half that helped you win. How would you characterize last night for your O-line?
Unfortunately, like, kind of typical as of late. Sloppy first half, didn't really value the disc. I think we were learning a lot about Atlanta's defense in the first half. By the second half, like when the second half rolled around, like I think we had kind of learned what they were trying to do. They played pretty loose, pretty poachy, and they switched a lot. They got a couple blocks in the first half doing that. I think we learned that in the second half. We're able to like pump fake more, swing the disc quicker. Yeah, and I think you saw that in the Chicago game too. Like first half was kind of just like us like learning what the defense is doing and their game plan. And then I think in the second half, like both games, we like adjusted and we're able to actually hold a bit and put our D-line back out there. Yeah.
What do you feel like you've learned about the Boston defense based on seeing them perform here and I don't know, any other tape you've watched?
To be honest, I just woke up and ate, so I need to watch a lot more film. But I saw they were like 8 for 9 on their D-line conversion. So I think we got to like value the disc obviously a lot more. And when we do turn it over, like we got to play defense too. They're going to be big and athletic. I know some of their players. And yeah, it's going to probably require our best performance yet offensively.
Yeah, I think for a lot of us who've watched Boston throughout the year, if you guys have a slow start tonight, I think we see it as a difficult mountain for you guys to climb, right? You're not going to get the chances that Atlanta maybe gave you. So what's it going to take to come out hot tonight and get off to that hot start and build that momentum early for this O-line?
I think like the nerves of being at championship weekend are maybe gone. We've got a game under our belt, a win under our belt. And I think we had some momentum building in the second half there. I think our hold conversion was definitely higher in the second half there. And I think just like knowing the urgency of the moment, like you said, like we can't have a slow start because Boston's probably not going to give it back. I think just knowing that and preparing that way will help us come out stronger.
Hey, Will. So you were talking about some of the guys that you know on Boston. I know there's a strong like D3 college, Middlebury, Pranksters connection. D3, obviously yourself, winning that championship with St. Olaf. But also like Brendan McCann, there are other guys through that program. Does that change a little bit of the chatter on the field? Like, do you think that increases it, that you've got that good relationship with some of these guys that like you might talk a little bit more? How does that affect you on the field or on the sideline? And does it make it more fun for you?
Yeah, I would say it makes it more fun knowing the teammates. I think you're both able to dial it up a little bit, knowing that like the teammate or the opponent is like also gonna give it back to you. But yeah, I don't think it'll affect me too much. I think the stakes of this game are pretty high, and I don't think like relationships on other teams will really affect that ability to lock in.
Will, obviously it was a tough start for Josh Klein last night, and he found his form as the game went on and made a bunch of good decisions late. What was it like helping him get through that? I know you're a lot younger, but you're also a leader on the O-line, calling plays on the line. How did you manage that early in the game and get through it to get the win?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to play confident like his normal self for us to like be successful, and I think you saw like the downside of that come out early in the game. And what I like about Josh is that he doesn't like go away from that. Even if he's turning the disc over, like he stays true to his game. And his like hucking ability is really important for us. Like when we show that we can affect the defense by threatening them deep, right? They start respecting our deep game a lot more, and things just become a lot easier underneath and in the reset space when they have to respect our deep game more. So like he knows he has like leeway to turn the disc over, like that's okay. But he also knows, and like we all trust him, that he's going to continue playing like that, and it will work for our offense in the long run.
Will, have you ever thrown a turn in practice into a wind chill snake in the grass?
I don't think so. They've been practicing it the past few weeks, and it's so obvious when they're ready because Ben will run out of the field and like, it's like I wonder what they're gonna do now. It's like, but I think we're like ready for it a lot. But I think I've never thrown one, but I couldn't believe it worked last night. It was so funny. I had no idea what was happening, and then PK just appeared out of nowhere. It was so funny.
Well, that was my next question. If you knew the play call and if you were kind of looking for it or trying to sell something on the sideline as a watcher.
I had no idea. I was like getting water, but usually like Ben will have like our reserves, you know, kind of stand by the cone here, and like PK or the snake or whatever. I've been told to stop talking. Okay. Leaking the game plan. Maybe I don't think we're gonna do it again tonight, though. Maybe we will.
That's exactly what you're supposed to say. Down 14-10, 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. How were you feeling on the sideline at that point? And like, was there still a lot of collective belief that you guys could come back and win that game?
Certainly belief. Like, it starts like 1 point at a time. Like, and the goal of our offense is just to focus on the current point and score that point. And we know our defense is capable of runs like that. So like, I don't know. I was just telling like the O-line, like on the line, like let's just play 1 point at a time. Like let's get our D-line back on the field and we'll go from there. But I think the belief was always there.
Yeah, I mean the O didn't turn it over. Well, I don't know about that, but no more breaks after that little run that they had at the beginning of the third quarter. Just what was it like watching the D-line charge up the crowd and make that run with the sideline traps and then the snake in the grass and taking the lead?
Pretty incredible. Like to have a group that talented just like kind of bail you out over and over again. Like it builds trust in the whole team, I think. And also like it's incredibly like exciting to see that happen, and I think it gives us momentum and confidence to move forward like more stronger. Yeah, like they've been so impressive this year, and like I think if we didn't have their ability to generate breaks like over and over again, I don't think we'd be here.
So Charlie kind of alluded to this briefly, but talk about the crowd last night. I mean, that had to be quite the atmosphere to be playing in front of. I mean, I've played a ton of games here at Breeze. I have to say that was probably, being down on the sidelines, like the second or third loudest game I've heard here. I mean, it was pretty raucous. Talk to me about, you know, what it was like to play in front of that crowd, have, you know, basically what felt like a home game, you know, from my perspective at least.
Yeah, the crowd was sick. One thing I really like about Breeze is like there's fans on all sides, and also the main fan section is really close to the field. Like that's something that we don't always get at our home games because there's like a track, and there's a little bit of separation. But I feel like when we had such a big crowd and it's only like 20 feet away from like the bench, like it really feels like it's right there, and affecting the game. Shout out like Ben and all of like the Winchell staff for like organizing and promoting this like road trip. I think we had hundreds of fans here travel from Minneapolis, and like that was really special, and certainly a factor in that win.
You feel like last night personally was your best performance of the season, and what do you think was behind that?
Definitely a good performance. I forgetting probably some games, but I think last night I was like able to play confidence, and I think that's when I play my best. Like over the top throws, like no hesitation on break throws, and just like run in. I think some games this year there's been just like hesitancy all around the O-line, and I think like last night I was able to kind of shed that, let some hammers go, and play to my strengths a little more.
Well, how do you feel when a roller pulls on the sideline and you're going to pick up against a big double team?
I don't know. Like, I kind of disrespectful. Like, I feel like I'm pretty good at breaking out of those, and like, I don't know. I feel like teams are better just not doing that against us, because I generally feel like it's pretty easy to break those for me.
So you talked about early season hesitancy, and one of the things I've really enjoyed developing over the course of the year has been Gordon Larson, Gordo coming more into that space, and I love y'all. I mean, y'all have, I mean, I can say decade, but how many years of chemistry between Dinah and Ola?
No, he didn't go to Dinah, but
Yeah, no, but it's really fun watching the two of y'all on the field. The connection of, especially when the pressure really ramps up from the defense, I feel like y'all make more eye contact, and he's someone who can generate something out of nothing really quickly. What does it feel like to be able to have someone that you trust like that in those spaces in these big moments?
really nice. Like Gordon is like just like a reset valve for our whole offense. Like stall 4, stall 5, stall 6. Like we're looking at Gordon to get open and to reset the disc. I think Max, our O-line coach, recognized that this year, and he's been like playing a lot more in the backfield as opposed to prior years. That's been pretty big for us. He's pretty hard to guard, and like just like you said, that chemistry makes it really easy for me just to trust, throw out to space. Look at him. I know he's gonna get open. Like I know we're gonna keep moving. Something that I kind of had going with like PK. I had played with him for even longer, and like I feel like when I just like looked at him, like he would know where I wanted to throw it. And PK's now on the D line, and like Gordon, I feel like I also have that with just playing club in college and now UFA together. Like I feel like he knows where I want to throw it, and it's really easy when we're on the same page.
Will, last question. How does it feel waking up and getting ready for a championship game today compared to the feeling you had last year after beating DC and getting ready to play Carolina?
Similar. Felt like we put everything that we could to get the win, and we wake up and like the mentality is that we just have to do it again, but even better, execute at a higher level. It's a similar feeling. I feel like we're all pretty locked in, and the feeling that you only have 12 hours to game plan for a team is rare for the UFA, and I think that presents a pretty unique challenge. Also, like playing a back-to-back against two like very athletic teams is also not something that we're used to. And I think both teams are having to deal with it, the game plan, the physical preparation. It's a challenge for sure. So it's going to be a blast tonight. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be really fun. So we're ready for it.
Awesome. Hope you can enjoy it. Best of luck. Cool. Get some rest. Watch some film. We'll see you later. Thanks, Will. And last but not least, this morning, the artist behind the snake in the grass, Ben Feldman. Ben, why has that play worked so successfully for you through the years with the wind chill?
We've never scored on it, Evan. So I don't know. Well, actually, maybe once, but not in the big moments. So we were waiting to. Well, we were a fingertip away of Halsmeyer from turning it again. It was pretty close, but it's tough. It takes a lot of composure, not just to get everything. A lot of things got to go right with that play, and then it takes a lot of composure to convert when the guys on the field are like, "Holy shit, that worked!" It's a pretty big distraction. So, a couple questionable throws there to finish that one off, but we got it done. So, got a lot of tools in the toolbox, and to beat really good teams in the biggest games when you're struggling or behind, you got to be willing to be creative, and we busted a lot of those out. A lot of things had to go right last night, and they did, and so we're thankful to be here. And little reset button, I think, thankful to be here.
Why was that moment at 16-14 with just under a minute to go in the third the right time for you to push that button and call that play?
Well, certain things got to be in place, personnel-wise, field position, where we're pulling from for that all to work the way that we want it. So that's a big part of the reason, without giving up too much detail about it. But yeah, it was something we had talked about and took 10 minutes to talk about yesterday to just re-hit on it with the team of what it would look like if we decided. We've prepped that a lot and then don't use it a lot. It just, things got to kind of it's got to feel right to do it. And so, yeah, not the first team to do it. But it's you know, I don't know. I'm gonna have to. It's gonna be tough to one up the toolbox performance between timeouts and trick plays and sets. But we're gonna have to do it tonight to beat this team. So, off for the challenge.
Yeah, what jumped out to you the most watching Boston tape and watching their victory yesterday? If you were able to,
Yeah, it was a late night.
Yeah,
I think we went to bed at 4:30 or 5. So, coaches are back. I know Max is sitting at his computer right now. We're cranking through stuff. We had some of our support team consolidating film for us. So, it's a good squad. Obviously, there's some changes. There's a change with their roster. Relatively big change, so we're trying to sort through that with how that's going to impact things, with Ben unfortunately being unavailable. But yeah, good team. Obviously, big bodies. You know, we feel like we got some matchups that are going to work pretty well there. I think our guys, you know, it's unfortunate to lose Dylan, but I think our guys are physically in a pretty good spot this morning, which I feel great about. And yeah, great team, big offense. Obviously, Jeff and Decraene are two extreme talents that we're going to have to manage and deal with. And offense is going to be challenged as well. Like Will was saying, they converted pretty well last night. We got to be better with the disc. And I think that will help us get the result that we want tonight.
There's also going to be a big change with your roster tonight as well, with Dylan DeClercq being out. I'm assuming Brett is going to be the guy taking that spot. I'm not sure if you've officially made that decision yet. What is the change in strategy? How does that affect your D-line? Any sort of roster change that you make, obviously, to fill that gap, that emotional and verbal kind of gap that Dylan brings to that D-line and to the team in general?
Yeah. Yeah, tough to have Dylan go down, but Dylan's still here. I mean, he's an emotional leader on the team. I think Noah talked about it in the post game yesterday, but just because he's not wearing the white kit tonight, or he has the black the black reserve on, and he's on the sideline, like he's a leader. I mean, Dylan's working full time for the team. Like Dylan is the heart soul of what we're doing. And yeah, he won't be able to make plays on the field tonight, but when he's there and pumping up the team and on the sideline, like he's a part of it, right? And he's a great player on the field, but a lot of what he gives is just the emotional support, the fire, the energy, right? And that's not going to go away with him on the sideline tonight. So I know he's ready to adapt and adjust. He does a variety of things for this organization now, on the field, off the field, you name it. And so just to pivot, right? His pivot is his role, and he's got a very important role for the team tonight, and he knows that. How he carries himself, how he acts everyone notices that, right? And he made that adjustment last night in the second half, and it made a big difference.
You're a crazy Joel Clutton play away from being in the finals 3 straight seasons. You're an underdog last year. You're an underdog again yesterday. You talked about it in the press conference yesterday, and you're probably going to be an underdog in the game today. What is it that is bringing the wind chill to these levels of success over and over again in these biggest spots of championship weekend?
That's a great question. I don't know. I think we all really value these opportunities together. I think the team knows the amount of time, energy, money that goes into creating these opportunities, all the support that the league offers. We invest a lot in the player experience. They see the impact, their family, friends coming out to the games, the experience we're providing. And I think these guys are just like really bought into what we're doing, like more than anything. And I think when shit hits the fan and things really matter and it gets tough, like that connection runs pretty deep in the tough moments. And so as we've grown and built the organization over the years, and people are pouring their, blood, sweat, tears into this, right? I think that changes things. And so our team's maturing a little bit. That doesn't necessarily mean that the performance on the field is becoming more consistent, because we can't say that it is. Like, we've been known for inconsistencies, and we're the first to say it. But I think not afraid to lose. Like, having got a title last year, I think we become even more dangerous now. Being the underdog, we talked about that coming in the Chicago game last night, tonight. That's fun for the guys, right? They're out here, they're having a blast, and so I don't know what makes us dangerous. There's something special about what we got built here. The aura, the leadership we have, the players, they all care a lot about what we're doing, and like I said, I think that makes a big difference in the tough moments. These guys are going out there having fun. We're trying to put on a show for our fans, and I think the product, the end result turns out pretty good when you're focused on having fun and doing it for the fans and the crowd.
Down 4, middle of the third quarter, what were you thinking about what you needed to do to turn the game around?
Yeah, I mean, we had to keep the defense out there, right? I started to get, I knew late in games, I know we typically wear the opponent down, but I also knew we were dropping. We lost a guy at halftime. We had some guys cramping. Typically, we think we had that advantage, and I think at the end of the game, we ended up having it, but we did have some guys who were limited that kind of cut down our active group of D guys that I could put on. My line calling just went to shit in the second half because I'm like looking at people's faces trying to figure out who the hell can go play defense, and it's a read, and sometimes, I think I'm pretty good at that, but it was just a scramble. I was getting off the field late, getting warnings, of just like making sure we had the right people and the right matchups, but down 13-9, 14-10. I mean, I knew we just had to get our defense on the field. I mean, the offense, they get broken once in the second half. So after that, I think obviously they kicked it into gear once we went down that 14-10. It became pretty damn clean, and so that's what we needed. We know if our offense scores, we're a dangerous team, and we're not gonna hide that. We're figuring stuff out. We talked about the guys who had great performances last night, and if we continue to do that and improve, average performance on offense makes us pretty damn scary. And so, Klein and Rader and guys will be the first to say, hey, had a bad game, right? Next game's up, doesn't matter. We can have guys have terrible performances, and this team finds a way to win, and that's pretty dangerous. And so when you got guys who are frustrated with how they played last night, being like, we still won, they enter this game with like feeling like they're playing with house money. Like, I can do that and we're still gonna win. Like, they want to, Josh is fired up. Talked to him this morning, right? He's a gamer, and so those guys are gonna come out and not gonna be afraid, not afraid to lose. Gonna go out, have fun, put on a show, and I think that's scary. And I'm excited for what it's gonna look like tonight.
Ben, I don't know if we should start calling you the timeout whisperer, and you've certainly called timeouts that have taken goals away from your team on break opportunities, but what was the feeling last night when you pulled the trigger at the exact right moment a couple of times in big spots?
Yeah, it feels good. Last night's probably at the top of the list. I know we didn't score on our first half timeouts, but the Justin drop, I think he heard the whistle. I think that got to him a little bit. At least he tells me that. I don't know if I believe him. It doesn't make me look as good if he did hear, you guys get what I'm saying. But I don't know. I've been around the game long enough. I've played. I know our guys, the personnel, been in these moments now for a while, and I think when it comes to managing personnel and strategies and sets and timeouts, it's a little bit of an art. And so I don't know. I like to think like, there's an instinct about it, just knowing your team, knowing the guys on the field, what the moment is, how the crowd's going. Is there fatigue, reckless energy? Do I feel a shot coming maybe that we don't want? And that's what really triggers it. So I kind of put myself in the shoes of the player on the field, and I know these guys pretty well, and I think that's what allows me to be most successful there, is I sometimes know these guys better than they do when it comes to their instincts and habits, and that's just from all the preparation that the leadership team and the coaches do. So I'm the one burning it, but you just got to be decisive, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And last night, a lot of things had to go right for us. Tip discs, great efforts and whatnot, but felt like the Frisbee gods were on our side, and we're hoping we have that again tonight.
Do you guys practice tip drills? I mean, those two plays on successive points, I think, where it looks like Atlanta had blocks on over-the-top shots, and Quinn saved one, and maybe PK saved another, I forget. Just what's
Greg
going through your
Cousins.
mind during those crazy sequences?
Yeah, it's just effort. You know, guys ready to work. You could say it's a little bit of luck, but you got to be willing to hit the ground. I mean, that catch by Quinn, the 360 spin. I mean, you know, that was a big play. That was a really big one, right? And Greg saved another one, the layout catch. Those were both two big ones, and people are getting tired. For those guys to come up with those plays it makes a difference in games. It's just the type of sport that we're in the league and how it works. And so sometimes come down to that. We've been on the bad side of that, obviously, tips and deflections and all that. And it's a little bit of effort and a little bit of just being in the right place at the right time. And so we'll take those two last night and take what you get sometimes on that. But it's great effort by those guys. It's a hell of two very important catches and big moments there.
Last thing before we let you go, I mean, this opportunity tonight against Boston, what will be the most important things tactically, emotionally, to become just the third team in UFA history to win back-to-back championships?
I think how we carry the next 7 hours are pretty important. Preparation, bodies, these guys are ready for this. I mean, we're going to talk some strategy and give some guidelines, but we want these guys to live in the moment. We want to keep it simple and make sure the coaches are given the right matchups and we have the right sets and calls. But, like, these guys are ready to play. They'll take the direction. They're going to out there and work. They're going to know who they're guarding. They're going to be prepared for what that looks like by reviewing stuff this afternoon. And we got to get the crowd into it. A lot of people spend a lot of time, money, energy to come down here, buy the merch, get in the stands. I mean, we got parents making light up necklaces, carrying stuff up from the hotel. I mean, it's a full team effort, and that support's incredible. And, like, more than I want this for the players and everyone involved on the field, like, I want this so bad for our fans, like, for them to come down here and the amount of time and energy and that's going into this. We don't exist but for the fans in the crowd and people buying tickets. Like, that's where we're at, right? And so the fans, the sponsors, the owners, it's all, that's what this is all about. So, and the players know that, right? These opportunities are fed by all the people around us. And so tonight we go out, we put on a show, leave it all on the field, and, we're going to have a game plan ready to go that will put these guys in a position to be successful.
And beyond the fans here, I saw a bunch of videos of watch parties going on back in the Twin Cities. Did you organize those, or are those organized by fans?
Yeah, so New Bohemia Golden Valley is kind of our official watch party location. Shout out to the whole team there. I think Chase Larson and Tanner Larson, some of our game day staff, were running the show last night. Our assistant GM Tyler's here this weekend with us helping out, who typically runs those. But and then I think Jake Frankel tonight is running the watch party tonight. But yeah, packed crowd there. First time from the division championship game. They sent me a video after that game, and I started tearing up a little bit. It's like, it's kind of a level up. You have a group of people coming together at some bar, I mean, to watch the game, right? There's no fan experience, it's just drinks and food, and they're all coming together because they care about the team. There's no party around it. It's just the TV and the product and the team, right? And so that felt pretty cool. And to see those videos, the camera shaking, everyone celebrating last night, I mean, it's pretty powerful, and I'm, like, so thankful for that support, and it means we're doing good things, and we got to keep growing this thing. But I think you might want to get to New Bohemia early tonight. I think it's going to be pretty packed, although I'm hoping some of those people might have jumped in the car and headed down to Madison. They got no work today, so if you're hearing this, New Bohemia is great, but bring yourself down to Madison here. It's an awesome venue, and it's going to be a hell of an experience tonight.
And there's still time. They could come for the PULWL All-Star game
Yep,
first,
4 o'clock.
and then see the championship game. Ben, congrats on another memorable championship weekend experience, and best of luck making it even more memorable.
Last thing I want to say is thank you to all you all, time, money, energy, to be here, and the late nights and the preparation. This doesn't exist with all you and everyone on the broadcast, and so a lot of sleepless nights and time and effort to go into it. So I appreciate you. You make what we're doing here great and help us reach new fans. So thanks for all that support. Appreciate that.
Thank you. We did not stay up till 4 a.m., I don't think.
At the bar, maybe.
Ben Feldman, thank you so much. That'll wrap up our Championship Saturday press conferences. A reminder about the schedule for the rest of the day. The WL-PUL All-Star Game featuring our own Kayla Helton begins at 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Central, right here at Breese Stevens Field. That'll be streamed on YouTube. And then our Game Day Live pregame coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 6 Central right here on the Game Day set, leading up to the Boston Glory and the Minnesota Wind Chill for the 2025 UFA Championship opening poll just after 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. That wraps up our press conference coverage. Thank you for being with us. Enjoy the rest of the day. We'll talk to you later.